If you would go back in time in Iowa, including on this farm, so our farm here, it has been owned and managed by members of the Canfield family for 150 years now. If we were to go back several generations in time on our farm, as with most farms, we would find there was a time where there was a very diverse mixture of crops growing on the farm. You had, in almost every growing season, you would have oats growing, you would have one or more types of hay crops growing, you would have permanent pastures growing for livestock to graze on, you would have some row crops, typically corn. You might have some other small grains like some wheat or some barley growing on small portions of different fields. We were the #1 producer of oats in 1950 nationwide in Iowa, with over 6 million acres of oats. If you look at the production of oats then in the years that followed after that, if you look at it on a graph or a chart, you'll notice that there was it peaked and plateaued there in 1950, and then it started to gradually decline throughout the 1950s and 1960s and 1970s, and rapidly dropped off to almost nothing by the early to mid 1980s. And so then we have to ask, so where did the oat production go? Because there are still oats used in Iowa today. People still use them to feed livestock. They're still used for milling for like your oatmeal and other human food grade products that are produced and sold in grocery stores. Where do those oats come from today if they're not being raised in Iowa? Well, predominantly oat production moved from Iowa and other states surrounding Iowa to the northern plains, into South Dakota, North Dakota, and then it gradually continued to move into Canada. So today, most of the oat production that is consumed here in the Midwest, or even nationwide, is the oats are grown in Canada, in the western provinces, central and western provinces of Canada, and then also in the Dakotas. And so as production of oats moved out of Iowa, we not only lost a local source for that grain product for the end users of that product, but farmers lost the opportunity to be able to grow a crop like that on their land and see their land benefit from all of the good things that happen when you have the crop diversity on your farm that allows you to be growing a crop like oats and allows you to be growing companion crops that typically would have gone with it, like alfalfa and clover and other mixtures of legumes and grasses that were typically grown and turned into hay for feeding livestock.